Hey there, you're listening to Your Life is Awesome, featuring true life stories about sex told by audience members at Smut Slams around the world. Smut Slam is a growing network of dirty storytelling shows founded in 2011 by me, Cameron Moore. We do our best to keep Smut Slam safe, but safe doesn't mean G-rated. Some of these stories are explicit as fuck. If you're not into that, now is a good time to get out. Otherwise, enjoy the show. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Your Life is Awesome. I'm your host, Cameron Moore. My pronouns are she, her, and I am here to spread the filthy love. I'm the founder of Smut Slam International and frequent host at slams around Europe. And when I'm taking a rest break back at my home base in Berlin, I set up the microphone and let you all know what's cracking in these special podcast episodes. This particular one was recorded in April 2025 in Berlin at our indoor venue, Crack Bellmer. The theme was On the Edge, and I'll just tell you a little bit, sometimes we pick themes that are not immediately obvious where they're supposed to go, or sometimes people need help coming up with their particular angle. So we always offer a little bit extra in the event descriptions and at the event to help our audiences get started to think about what stories they could tell. So this episode, this show, the theme was On the Edge, and we clarified this by saying stories of outer limits, emotional cliffs, being on the fence, or maybe even a sharp little toy. So you see there, we got metaphorical being on the edge and also actual edgy play with a toy. So that pretty much covered the range of stories that we got at this show. It was very much a roller coaster in the way that Smut Slams can be at their best. In between the stories, we had frequent dips and dives into the fuck bucket, which is we have our own special buckets here in Berlin. We have our own buckets here in Berlin. They are for anonymous questions and confessions that audience members want to toss in, and I do my best to answer them. Audience also can help each other, help themselves with crowdsourced answers. So the fuck buckets, so precious, so good. Listen into those. Thanks to all the tellers on this episode for giving us permission to share their stories on the show. And for those of you who are listening here on the podcast, hey, strap in. It's about to get wild, and I'll see you on the other side. Yes. Okay. I love to make my partner come over and over again. I don't give a fuck about our neighbors. Who cares about whisper mode? Give me the sex toy that sounds like a lawnmower. Give me a badly made sex toy. I want one that grinds a little bit.
So this was my recent move to Berlin. I met someone who is kind of into the group scene, doing stuff in groups. He's a very organized person. And we did a 3 thing, a 4-person thing. He invited me to this 5-person thing, and I was having a great time, so I was like, the more the merrier. Spoiler, not necessarily true. But I was excited. I was like, cool. And so it was 2 people I knew from previous experience, and then 2 other new people. And, the vibe is going, we're drinking some champagne, whatever, action starts going. And 5 is just, it's an awkward number because it's too big for everyone to be all involved with at once, but not big enough that everyone's just in their own adventure kind of thing. So it ends up being at a point where there's a 3 thing happening and a 2 thing happening, and I'm in this 2 thing, watching this 3 thing, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was there, actually. And, I'm still having an okay time. It's fun enough, but I'm watching this girl with these 2 other guys, and she's having a great time, and they're both having a great time, and I'm like, I'm having an okay time, but they're building up for this thing, and at some point I'm like, does it even matter that the two of us are here? Like, is this even a fivesome anymore? But still, I'm like, the night is young. This could be a long thing. Trying to keep my hopes up, and then while I'm watching this happen, all these like insecurities start to get into my head of like, maybe she's just better at this thing. Maybe I'm like not cut out for this group thing. And then I was like, no, but I got to be cool. I'm in, I can do this. I'm not a jealous person. I don't have to be jealous of this other girl, but in my head, I'm getting jealous of this other girl, and then I'm not in my body, so then it's hard to like feel the pleasure building or whatever. So my orgasm journey is kind of going down at this point, and everyone else's seems to be going up at this point, and everyone's getting louder and having a great time, and I'm just kind of like, do I like stop the action, try to ask for what I want, but that doesn't feel hot, and anyway, so I'm just like in my head, and I mean, people are supportive still, but they're busy. This kind of progresses, and the one person decides to leave, who I'm with, which is fine. And then they kind of recognize that I'm there and move back towards this bed. But, they're really on this journey themselves, and they're just having a great time. And I'm kind of getting frustrated with myself, both just physically that I'm, was trying to get there, and it was close, and it was going to be good and hot, and then it wasn't. So I'm like sexually frustrated and now emotionally frustrated, and I'm getting like on the verge of tears, sort of. And this one guy's, he's paying attention to me, but he's tired already. He can't necessarily give it his 100%, and I'm in my head, and this girl's next to me, and this guy's, she's just, yeah, I just think she had a really great night, and I'm really happy for her. But at this point, I'm like on the verge of tears, and she starts squirting so hard that it rains over onto me. And I was like, at this point, I was just like, are you kidding me? Actually. Yeah. At that point, it kind of tipped into just like, okay, this is just funny. Like, yeah. And that's, how the night ended, and then took a night bus home. But, yeah.
Wow, that was such a journey. And it ended with a night bus. The ultimate indignity. Ooh. What? For the first time, I did CBT yesterday, and I loved it. I want to clarify for the audience, CBT is cock and ball torture, not cognitive behavioral therapy. No, I don't think so. The rest of the context we'll talk like... Just in this context, it's very funny for social workers who deal with kink customers. But anyway, here we go. For the first time, I did CBT yesterday, and I loved it. It felt so good to stand on someone's balls who was about double my size. Very powerful feeling. Winky face emoticon there. Winky face emoji.
Your life is awesome.
Your life is awesome. I love it. Quick reminder. HPV is a serious thing. As a person with a uterus, I find it's considered not too dangerous in comparison to other sex diseases or illnesses. This is not true. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. It can be dangerous, okay? It can be dangerous. So if you are of an age and you have a good doctor that you can go to and get that HPV vaccination, there's a number of them. There are multiple strains of HPV, so you might have to get more than one. But like you can go get a vaccination for whatever's kind of current and going around. Sometimes I find doctors in Germany can, you all can finish the sentence there. I find that they don't always take things seriously, especially when it's things that they might be considered like optional, right? And vaccinations, they're not very aggressive about that. Go and ask for it, right? You can definitely, it's not something for teenage girls anymore. You can get it, whatever your gender, and up to like 45, I think. Get it, okay?
So yeah, I've been exploring a little bit the gay party scene, gay kinky party scene, but not too wild because I go to bed at 10. Wow. So it's more like the Sunday. It starts at 4 p.m. This is kind of my party, and it fits well because it's a mask theme party, and I love wearing masks, so that's perfect. And a friend of mine has been trying to get me to go with him there for the past 6 years, and I was like, well, the passing is male now, so I guess I'm ready. Yeah, and we went there a couple of times, really enjoy it, and I'm kind of strapping on the longest strap-on I have because I'm so tiny, you know. Sometimes I need to get up, and then there needs to be still enough space to get in there. So yeah, then I really just like watching people and how they behave. There's like the cultural scientist in me that snaps on and just sees gay men as like animals to observe. And yeah, it's been fun. I then usually go with my friend. I fuck him a little bit, and it's fun because, you know, I've been observing the people there, so I know if I fuck him, then there will be like the crowd coming, and then I just need to step away in the right moment, and he'll be busy, and I can go around and see where else to stuff my strap-on into. And what I usually do is like I look around, and then, you know, they're like always offering themselves. And then sometimes they just wait there, and like everybody just wants to go to the same person, and then you have 5 other people there and nobody touches them. So, you know, I'm like, oh, I see you waiting, like me and my strap-on, we are here, I'm ready. But a friend of mine called it the courtesy fuck. I quite like it. And I was standing, you know, around watching people, and I saw this lonely butt over there. But it was so far away, and then I don't want to, you know, hassle around, and then I saw the lonely butt again. And at some point I was like, come on, let's go over there, let's make this lonely butt happy. And I go over there, and I start, and we don't seem to hit it off really. And at some point I'm like, yeah, no, this doesn't seem to feel good for you. I seem to do something wrong, so I rather stop. And then there was this moment where he was just looking like really angrily at me, and I didn't know what was wrong, and then he just got up and left. And I was there like, I mean, the communication between men is anyways a riddle to me. But I was like, okay, I was like thinking about this for a while. I was like, oh, what was going on? Was it too hard? Was it not hard enough? Am I too white? Am I too short? Didn't you like my mask? So yeah, I don't know, since there's no communication. But I was thinking then later, I was like, oh yeah, when I was fucking my friend, like the strap-on it kind of slipped out now and then of course if you don't feel anything, you don't feel it. So then I was imagining me kind of like humping him dry, and he was just thinking like, what the fuck? What's going on? But yeah, I've never figured out, but that's my guess, and that was the story already.
Aww. I told nearly everyone that I was coming for a BDSM conference this weekend. That was just an excuse to be in town to meet up with my ex-lover. We last met 6 months ago. They told me they'd suspected that was my real reason for being in town. They smiled when I confirmed their suspicion. I went to the conference once. I saw them 5 of the 7 days I've been here, and I changed my ticket home to stay an extra night with them. Smiley face. Isn't that funny? They feel like they have to defend themselves to their friends. Like, no, I'm tough. I'm going to a BDSM conference. I'm gonna beat everyone's butt. I'm gonna fuck everyone's ass with my fucking 2-mile-high strap. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that was you, Moritz, but like, like, yeah, you gotta be all tough. And then like, oh, but you're being a soppy little cutie. Okay, that's adorable. It's okay. I respect that in you. More romance in this world, please. Okay.
So, one thing that I love to do is to record the audio when I'm having sex. I am much more into that than the sex tape. It's just there is something about like listening to it and trying to figure out what was happening in that moment that I made that sound. I just love it, and I have a tip to share. So you can do that on WhatsApp. You just open the chat with the person. If it's more than one person, then you have to have like a designated person. And then if you click on the audio button and then you push it up like that, then it will record for up to 30 minutes, which I know sometimes it's not enough. A lot of times I'm trying to figure out a better solution, but that's the one that I have for now. And then you can listen to it afterwards, which you should only do if the people who are with you are consenting to. But yeah, it's something that I love to do, and I have kind of like a stash of spicy audios that are very dear to me. And once I was at this hostel in Bogota, and I was, in a budget, so I was in a shared dorm with many other people, a mixed dorm. But we did have bunk beds with curtains, right? So there was a little bit of privacy. And one night, I was feeling lonely, and I was really missing this ex-lover of mine. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull an audio. And I got on my phone and, put on my headphones, dialed up the volume all the way up. Got my vibrator, and I was there in the zone. I was there like listening to it, and I was reminiscing and having a great time. And it was loud, and it was great. And this was little bit late, so say past 12. And I was about like 16 minutes in, and I looked at my phone, and I realized that there was not the headphone symbol that would tell me that the headphones were indeed connected. And I could feel my stomach sinking. Like, oh my God, these people have been listening to me listen to some hardcore fucking for 16 minutes. Like, what the fuck do I do? Do I pretend nothing happened? Do I pretend that like this was, do I say something? Do I just go to bed? So yeah, that was a very sinking moment, but then I realized that actually it was just a mistake from my phone, and yeah, the headphones were connected. So it was just a close call. So I would recommend record the audios if you're into the idea, and do listen to them on the train, on the hostel, but double check that your headphones are indeed connected. So that's my story.
Wow. Okay. Someone recently asked me about my kink, and after I told them, they said something like, "Oh, that's pretty normal." I always felt like it was kind of extreme, so I was positively surprised about their response. Smiley face. Are you talking to me when I didn't ask? You are. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. There's no context, right? There's no context to this, and they're not asking for advice. So it sounds like that went fine, positively surprised by their response. So it sounds like this person was like, I feel like I'm very extreme and I got reassurance that I'm normal for this, right? Just yay for you. But I want to remind everybody in this room, like, you really have to be able to read the room when someone tells you their kink, because maybe they want to feel edgy and like, oh man, you're so extreme. And you're not a good friend if you're like, no, man, like, yeah, I learned about that in 9th grade. What are you talking about? I'm from Sweden. We talked about it in kindergarten. Sorry to the Swedish people in the room. I'm not really sorry. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of have to like judge what they're going for. It sounds like their friend nailed it here. Well done.
Hi. So I have a story about one of the most creative foreplays that I've ever had that stayed foreplay. So I had my dom come over to my home one time, and they led me into the bathroom, and it was pitch black and I couldn't see anything. And they led my hands over to the sink, and they had me wash their hands. And so all I could see was just nothing, blackness, and their hands in warm water. And it was really nice. And then they took my hands, led me out of the bathroom into my bedroom. It was very nice. It smelled like lavender. There was sun coming in. It was springtime. And they said, get on your knees. So I got on my knees, and they pulled out a small string and started tying my fingers. And I'm hypermobile, so they tied my thumb to my wrist. They tied my fingers so that I could barely move. And then they pulled out some binders. And they said, you're going to organize my taxes. And so I start getting the receipts, and I can barely move, right? I start getting the receipts and pulling tape out with my teeth and trying to like organize it on the papers. And all the while, their fingertips, they're behind me, and I'm still on the ground, and their fingertips are going from my shoulders down to my elbows, down to my wrists. They're just caressing me and massaging me. They start pulling my hair, and it feels really nice. So I'm doing this admin work while I feel so nurtured by this like paternal presence. And yeah, and then I do all of that, and they say, good girl, which I'm a fan of. And they pull me over to my bed, which is a few meters away, tell me lay down. And then they take this very soft blanket, very like baby soft. I don't know what it's made of, but it feels like a cloud. It feels like heaven. And they start swaddling me really, 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 really tight. And so I can't move. And I feel like a little baby burrito. And then we fall asleep and we take a nap. And that's all.
Oh, God. I love that your partner clearly doesn't care about accuracy in tax reporting. I'd just be all like, oh my God. Not getting anything done there. Also, I don't think enough people understand the whole nature of burritoing, as a verb, a burritoing, like that's a good thing. It's an amazing thing. And more people should do it with various blankets. Can we talk about perimenopause and sex drive, please? I feel like all the air is drained from my libido balloon. Yes, we can definitely talk about that. That is something that is pretty common for people with uteruses. It can be a bummer. There are definitely educational programs that you could go and find out about. I know there's one person in the house tonight. If I find you wrote this as your own little self-promo, I'm going to have to be stern. But there are definitely like programs out there for talking about menstrual matters and sex. Yeah, I think the problem, you got a lot of ageism coming into play when you're looking at education around this stuff. People are like, what do you care? Like, the feeling of getting dismissed for your age and wanting to fuck around, like that's a problem. It is a problem for sure. Mm-hmm. My partner and I did home/juicy office together. Is that where you go with that? Yes. Home/juicy office together last week. He had a meeting and stood at his standing desk when I decided to see if he flinched if I distracted him. So I crawled under the desk and started sucking him off. He had to turn off the camera for a second and then came. No flinching before that. We wondered how many people in this meeting have made use of working from home like this before. Is this still a thing? We did other jobs. During COVID, so I'm really intrigued. Did people do that?
Yes.
Round of applause. Okay, yeah, okay. You are all. Wow. You know, people got fired for these kind of shenanigans. I'm just letting you know. Not that I think they should have, but like also, oh, be careful with the camera. Make sure, like the earphones, make sure that everything's properly disconnected when it needs to be.
So when I was 17, I moved to the States for a year exchange program. And I came out as gay to myself and to some people. But I didn't make it, I wasn't like in your face gay, but I was gay. But then my host parents were Republican. There's a villain. And so what they did is they figured, okay, Nico's gay. And they told my parents, I'm gay. And on top of that, they told them I'm a pedophile. Which turned out, this feels really good. Which, you know, and then, I don't know why my parents, so they were visiting me in the States already, and then they made me do an HIV test. Made, not voluntary, made you do that. So, yeah, so that's that. Coming out is hard, but, you know, I'm glad I'm alive and kicking. And so I had to go back to the States. I was on my own, traveling back to Zurich, via Zurich to Berlin. And then when, you know, back in the 90s, we didn't have LCD screens. We had a big cinema screen. So Titanic was starting, and so, but I had to go to the toilet, you know. But and then while there was a queue, I was chatting with this guy. We were just randomly, casually talking, and then it was our turn to go to the toilet. That is how I became the My High Club member. So yeah, yeah. So like, you know, like I was like a bit shy. I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking do it. Let's just do it, you know. So we went to this tiny cubicle. I was slim. I was very. I don't know how we met. We just kissed and wanked off. That's how we did, you know. So much for romance in aluminium toilets, you know. There's that. And then by the time we were finished, the Titanic sang. So there's that. But the story is not ending there yet. So by the time we got into Zurich. This is a pro tip for everybody. If you go to Zurich, they also have shower cubicles. And that is when we had a finally happy ending. So anyway, my story is I'm alive and kicking, and I also have a happy ending. Thank you so much.
I am always full of such admiration, although I am deeply conflicted. I'm always bemused about the Mile High Club. Like, there's no room. There's no room. I can barely take a sheet of toilet paper off there without just jamming up against the walls and that. So, I mean, all ethical considerations aside, I'm just really proud of your space and time, like your topographical prowess there, obviously. You Tetris your way in. Fucking nerds, man. Okay. Yes, okay. Amazing. I started liking feet this year. And I swear I have no idea how that happened. that which you resist persists, I guess. Indeed. Indeed.
I've always been bisexual. And this is my story of how me and my partner started getting away from compulsive monogamy. Yeah. So I got married young, and we were monogamous for 8 years, but I was really struggling with wanting to be with a woman. I wrote poetry. I know, really Sappho out up in there. I wrote stories. I wrote smut. I made sexy D&D adventures. I read all the queer books that I could get my hands on, and it wasn't enough. And at some point, I came up with this idea, which I think most people do, of, hey, we could have a threesome. Right? But I wanted to be careful about it, because I'm like, okay, in my head, it's really hot if he's like fucking another woman and I'm there too and it's really great. But what if that's not how I feel in the moment? And I didn't want to do that to a random person. So I was like, okay, let's find a sex worker. Yeah. I think a lot more people should do that. And so then we started on this journey of trying to find a sex worker in Berlin. And that's not as easy as you might think. Okay. There are websites for brothels, and we tried calling them, and they're like, what? You guys want to come as a couple? And it's like, yeah, and do you have anybody over 30? I'm like, that's not a good answer. And they're like, do you have anybody plus sized? Well, no. We've got somebody with like double D. I'm like, no, no, that's not that. So we kept looking online, trying to find someone over 30 and rounder. And it took a long time. And a lot of websites have pictures with people from like here downwards. And I'm like, I'd like a head. Yeah. I kind of want to know what you look like. So it took us a good couple weeks of looking through websites, because also a lot of things seem really sketchy, where it's like, I don't want to enter my details into these things. And we finally found one where I was like, okay, this is it. And we wrote her on WhatsApp, and she was the nicest person. Amazing. She asked, what do you want to do? These are my boundaries. Like, perfect. And so finally, it came time for our 8-year marriage anniversary. Yes. And so we decided, this is it. So we told our parents, we're going to this concert, right? Because they're babysitting, they want to know where we're going to go, you know? So we're like, oh, we're going to this concert. And then we go, and we were so prepared. We had everything. We had condoms, we had toys, we had little, like, blanket things, just because, like, I don't know, want to save her furniture, you know? And we got there, and I was so nervous. I had put on all the nice lingerie, but I was still really nervous, because I was like, what happens if I feel like she's not attracted to me? And my partner was really good. He was like, then we leave. We give her money, we leave. I was like, okay. And we get in, and the first thing she does is hug me. Aww. Just a good minute of hugging, telling me I smell good. Yeah, telling me that she really likes my lingerie. I was just like, yes. She even gave me tips about where to get plus size lingerie. So, like, awesome. And we talked for a little bit, and then we had our fun, and it was so amazing. Yes! so great. She made sure that everybody was always involved. Another praise to this woman, she made my partner last 2 hours. Wow. Yes, very, very good. And after we had both had our fun, when it came time for me to go over the edge, I was like, oh no. I brought these little pads because I can squirt and it can get a little messy. And she was like, you are the cutest person in the world. And she put down the little pad, and then we got to it. And after I squirted, she was like, yes. And I was like, that is the sexiest fist pump I have seen in the world. Yes, thank you. And then she was more or less like, oh, well, we're, done here. And I was like, well, wait, no, like, I would like to, make sure that you also get over the edge. Do you have like a toy or something you like? She was like, my God, you really are the cutest couple in the world. And so she got her toy, and I got to make her go over the edge. Thank you. The funniest part was we eventually got back home, and they said, how was the concert? And I went, what concert?
What concert? Whoopsie. I love that for you. I love that whole thing. That's fucking amazing. You want the contact details? And reminder also, generally sex workers want the money up front. You put it on the table. You can make sure it's all counted out in the envelope, all right? So I mean, they can say different ways to give it to them, but most people like to have the money out of the way. I thought I was a sub all my life. I love it when it starts like that. And then I met this person who is subby and cute as fuck, and apparently I am into doming for the right person. All right. What? One time I was watching Eurovision with my boss. And 2 hours into it, during Germany's entry, he pulled out a massage gun to help me relax. This turned into a multi-year long kinky affair with my superior, and I still can't watch Eurovision in the same way. Okay, you gotta love a boss who's prepared like that. I mean, maybe you don't have to love them. Honestly, I probably reacted like this during the show. I can't remember, but I definitely cannot advocate, as they call it, shitting where you eat. Workplace stuff can be so fraught, but it sounds like the person who contributed that fuck bucket, it sounds like they got a lot of joy out of it. So, rock it out, baby. I'm not sure why Eurovision, but whatever, it's fine. Thanks to everyone for listening to the episode, and a special thank you for this show goes out to Crack Bellmer, which has been a marvelous home for Smut Slam in Berlin for the last several years. Crack Bellmer, right there in the heart of the city near Warschauer Straße. They're just amazing. If you are in the Berlin area, come out and see us there starting in October, all right? We come back to our indoor season in October. Now, as far as the podcast goes, if you don't want to wait 2 or 3 weeks for the next episode, I encourage you to consider joining our Patreon. That helps us put these out more regularly. To be honest, it needs money for us to keep on moving the filth through the river. I don't know how to describe that to you otherwise, but it's just like it flows past, but we got to channel it somehow. That takes effort, and it takes some funding, all right? As a supporter of the Patreon, you would get to listen to stories and fuck buckets that never make it into the regular releases. Plus, you get to listen to our episodes a few days early, all right? So it's little perks, little backstage things. These are some things that you'll get, and you'll be the first to see when we get upgrades to that Patreon experience, and you'll be the first to hear announcements about the podcast, all that good stuff. Go to patreon.com/Your Life is Awesome and join our sweet little Smut Lovers Club. We'd love to have you there. If you don't have the funds right now, I get it. Times are tough. You can help us also by writing a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Your recommendation helps us spread even further. Thanks, algorithm. All right. So just go like word of mouth is the way to go, and formally channeling word of mouth into review is super helpful. Get there. Now, I have been saying over the last few episodes that summer is frequently a slower time for us in terms of in-person smut slams. All right. It's just that's the way it is. All right. And that is summer, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere. But we like the cycle here in the Northern Hemisphere is like, yeah, summer's slow. And then it's back to school, back to real life, back to a little more of like the hustle and bustle, right? And that is really true for our calendar right now. I'm going to read that to you real short, just date and location. So you're going to get a piece of paper and a pencil, and you're going to jot this all down old school style. When you hear a city that's got a slam coming up and you know you've got a friend there, you got to let them know. All right. Here it is in brief, all the way through September, the end of September. August 31st, Vancouver. September 2nd, Boston. September 4th, Winnipeg. September 9th, Copenhagen. September 15th, Berlin. September 19th, we got 2 slams going on, Manchester and Baltimore. September 21st, Glasgow. September 22nd, Brighton. September 25th, Barcelona. September 27th, our newest slam in Madrid. So that's going to be the first time there in Madrid on September 27th. September 30th, returning to Vienna. And October 1st, we're in Budapest. All right. That is not all me. I'm mostly doing I'm doing the European ones. We got other people in North America handling that. But yes, we keep our refrigerator of filth stocked for you. All right. So you just got to reach in. If you're not going there, you're listening to the podcast. If your friends don't live in any of these places, they're listening to the podcast. We got you covered, babes. All right. So stay in tune. Stay in touch with us at the Smut Slam website, smutslam.com. Go to the directory page, the event page, and that will keep you up to date there. Or follow us on Instagram at smutslamintl, or find your local chapter's Instagram channel and follow them as well. All right, that's it. We got it dished out steaming hot for you here. So take a bite. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Remember, in the meantime, your life is awesome.
This has been Your Life is Awesome, a story podcast from Smutslam with Cameron Moore. Produced by me, Marc Seistedt. Music by Sticky Biscuits. A huge thank you to all storytellers featured. All stories are being shared with permission. If you want to help us make more of these, plus get access to longer episodes and other bonus material, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/yourlifeisawesome. If that's not in the cards right now, you can also help by rating and reviewing this show. Look for that option in your podcast app. We might read out some reviews on a future episode. Got a question for Cameron? Write or send a voice recording to smutslampodcast@gmail.com. This too might be featured on the podcast. And if you want to find out more about Smutslam and the code of conduct we use in the shows, go to smutslam.com. All links mentioned can be found in the podcast info. Thanks for listening.